Good evening, everyone. How was tea break? As this is the fifth talk of tonight, I figured that some of you might be sleepy. If my talk can wake you up, it would be my pleasure. But if it cannot, then you're welcome to sleep in your sit. Okay, however, I would attempt to wake you up. Let's play a game. I want you to put 5 fingers up. If you're on TikTok, then you're definitely familiar with this one. And I'm gonna give you 5 questions. So if any of these questions sounds like you, put one finger down. Okay? Put a finger down if you ever said yes to plans you didn't want to go to. Put a finger down if you feel more reassured if you make a decision with the confirmation from your parents or friends. Put a finger down if you need to go out every week, not necessarily to fancy bars and restaurants, but just to meet people, maybe to school or supermarket. Put a finger down if you cannot sit alone with your thoughts and emotions. Put a finger down if you'd rather stay silent in a group setting than speak up about your opinion. Well, look around, see how many you have, and see how many fingers that your friends have put down. If several of these sounds like you're not alone. I was there too. I was a people pleaser. And let me tell you about this people pleaser. Her name is Lily, and she's a social girl, which means she never say no to hang out. To her, social gathering recharge her. So why say no when it recharge up when it recharges me, right? However, as I scored a 5 out of 5 out of the initial put your finger down game, it doesn't make me an ordinary people pleaser, but it makes me the one that dreads being alone the most. I hate being alone. I mean, we all do, right? I bet that at some point in your life, every one of us have hated the feeling of loneliness. So, in an attempt of finding why that being alone is so unbearable for me, I came across this Greek philosopher named Aristotle. You know him? And he said that humans by nature is social animal. And it's true. As human beings, we are wired to belong and connect in a community. However, for people pleaser, it's a different case. When that need is so much more amplified, we don't just enjoy external validation, we rely on it. For us, daily connection is not simply just about connecting with our community, but rather about survival. Not physical survival, but emotional survival. Survival of fear of loneliness, fear of missing out, fear of isolation. So, when we rely on these external validation we receive from other people, when it's missing, it can become sophisticating. And that's how I felt every time I'm alone. I feel like I'm stuck in real life waiting for the next moment to be recharged again when I hang out with my loved ones. And I thought that my life's gonna continue in this way. I'm gonna stuck in a cycle of dreading being alone and then wait for the next time to hang out with my loved ones again. Until, now when I say the word until, I know that some of you may sense a personal story coming. You're correct. And that's not gonna stop me from telling my story. Until life decided that it was time for character development and forced me to face my fear and to put me in a situation where I must be alone. I fell in love. And I fell in love with a boy that I thought was so out of my league. However, I managed to bag him and we got into a relationship. And you're probably wondering, Lily, how is this alone when there's two people in a relationship? Well, the thing is that I fell in love with the very person that every single one in my life, my friends, even my family, warned me about. And as a stubborn 16 years old girl who believed in true love, I refused to listen. I got into the relationship anyway. So when the relationship came crashing down, just like how they told me to, I couldn't bring myself to go to my loved ones for help, knowing that they would told me the one thing that I hated the most. I told you so. Looking back, I avoided people, not only because I'm scared of confrontation, but it's also because I'm scared that they would view me as the broken girl, which is so different from the perfect Lily who's lovable, easygoing, fun, outgoing that they're used to, the version that I've worked so hard to build. So all I did was to hide in my room, shut down the world. So I had the opportunity to spend the next few months trying to understand my own emotions and thoughts so I can finally get myself out of this mess and go hang out with the world again. Wow. And you're probably wondering, you hate being alone the most, right? Was it hard for you? It was. All I did was cry and cry. It was boring, depressing, and very lonely. The first time that I sat in complete quiet, it wasn't quiet at all. It was loud in my head, thousands of voices shouting at me. And as an average teenager, I attempt to numb myself by doom scrolling on social media. And as I was scrolling there, I came across this one video of this YouTuber that documented her 3 months journey of heartbreak. And seeing how she went from heartbroken to healing gave me hope that I could do the same thing. So I switched to vlogging as my alternative coping mechanism. And surprisingly, vlogging actually makes loneliness more bearable. This is 1/4 of the amount of video I've filmed during my journey. And as you see, I do it all the time. It allowed me to step out myself, to step into a third-person perspective, to observe my thoughts and emotions. It gave me a sense of control over the frenzy of mood swings and emotions I was feeling at that time. And as I was rewatching these videos, I realized that a lot of time, the voices I was trying to run away from, the voices that were so loud, was not mine. It was not mine at all. It was comments on social media, gossips I picked up from school, expectations that I've absorbed without considerations. And underneath all these voices were my voice, the voice that's absolutely crucial to understanding what do I want, who do I want to become, what do I want to do, who do I not want to become. And at this point of my healing journey, I've reached this point where I kind of sense that, oh, I found my inner voice. So what do I do now? Do I sit and stare at the ceiling and then listen to some voices in my head? No. So I asked myself, what do people do when they're alone? What do you guys do? So fast forward, Valentine's Day was coming up. And your girl was no longer in a relationship. So she wouldn't be getting any sorts of gift. And I've had enough seeing all these people, couples taking each other on dates, giving each other chocolates, reading heartfelt letters that they wrote them on social media. I had enough. Because I knew that could have been me if I had a breakup. But that was not the case, right? So guess what I do? Guess what I did? I went and bought myself a flower bouquet. And this is the flower bouquet that I've got myself that day. As you can see, it contains the flower lily, which is the same as my name. And honestly, it was the most special flower bouquet I've ever received. More special than a one for my birthday or secondary high graduation. Because for me, this flower is a stark reminder that I have free wills. As all of you, and as I previously thought flowers were something that we give each other, that others give to us, not something that we give ourselves, especially on a national couple holiday. But yet I did it. And it feels liberating, knowing that I do not have to wait for another boyfriend to come into my life and give me this on the next Valentine, knowing that I don't have to wait for my graduation day to receive flowers from my family. I can come and get myself a flower bouquet. I, in fact, can do anything with myself, for myself, and by myself. At some point, I mean, you can see this is the first flower bouquet I got myself right, but it's definitely not the last. As I continue to get myself flower bouquet throughout my healing journey, and at some point, I stopped. I thought to myself that, oh my God, am I enjoying being alone? Is being alone something that I do not fear anymore? I mean, I was drawing, painting, reading love novels, going to the gym, doing all sorts of things with myself. Since when did we start doing all these things? Now, when we're with others, our brain releases neurochemistry such as serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin. These are the chemicals that make us feel safe, loved, and fulfilled. This is the reason why hanging out with other people can feel so fun and addictive. However, what's shocking to me is that I found out that our brain released the very same neurochemistry when we're ourselves. According to neuroscientist Alex Corp, these small acts of self-care, such as journaling, meditating, or even just exercising, stimulates the very same emotional system as when we're with others. This means that we're 100% capable of feeling safe, loved, and fulfilled when we're by ourselves. I know that at some point in your life that some of you may have go through what I have been through. Not necessarily a heartbreak, but a situation where you feel safe, you feel unsafe, stuck, ashamed, and unsure of what to do. However, from my situation, what I've learned and what I want to share with you is that when you spend time with yourself, it doesn't always result in loneliness. But spending time with yourself, especially when it's chosen, when it's intentional, have a different name. And it's called solitude. I'm here to remind you that the majority of time we spend on earth is with ourselves. So rather than letting those times fly by, waiting for our next moment to hang out with other people and getting recharged by them, why not do ourselves a favor and make those times enjoyable? And now that I have introduced to you a new definition, you may be expecting a 3-step guide on how to achieve solitude. Well, you're wrong, because I'm not going to. Solitude is a shift of perspective. Therefore, it's different for any of you. However, what I can do is offer to share a story and then offer some advice if you happen to want to enjoy your own company. Because solitude is a shift of perspective. It's going to take time. Remember what I said about making friends? Well, when you make friends with other people, sometimes we click instantly, and sometimes we don't. Similarly, some people may find solitude immediately, while others take longer to process their thoughts and emotions. And that's completely normal. And moreover, for me, vlogging works best. But for you, it may not be journaling, exercising, or any of that. It may be exploring the cities, trying new dishes, and it's okay as long as you try as many activities and you don't stop until you find one that you enjoy doing with yourself. Solitude has taught me 3 things. 1, it has taught me boundaries. It gave me knowledge and the opportunity to leave, not out of emotional draining, but rather out of self-respect. Secondly, solitude has taught me how to listen to myself. And as you practice listen to yourself, you build trust with yourself. And when trust builds up, confidence follows. I mean, I'm your living proof. And thirdly, solitude has taught me that I'm not incomplete with others. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still a social girl. I still love to hang out. After this, I'm going to eat Hai Di Lao with my best friend. However, it taught me that I don't need other people to feel like I matter because I've finally become someone that I love hanging out with. Thank you so much.